Right, so in this question, we've got function f and we've got function g. So these are past e-assessment questions. Okay, so the first question says it wants us to show that where they intersect each other, we can write it as this. So that just means because we know where these 2 points are going to intersect, that the coordinates are exactly the same. So that means we can make the equations equal each other, because then that means the y is going to be the same. So if we do that in this question, so the first function is 2x plus 4, and that equals x minus 1 squared minus 2. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is expand this bracket. So that means x minus 1, x minus 1. Okay, so if you expand it, x times x is x squared. Then we're going to have minus x minus another x, and then plus 1. And then don't forget at the end to put minus 2. And then the left is the same. Right, I'm going to just simplify the right. So x squared, so that's going to be minus 2x because negative x and negative x. And then positive 1 minus 2 is going to give me a negative 1. Right, and then I'm going to bring everything over to the same side. So I'm going to minus 2x, and I'm also going to minus the 4. So the left is 0. So x squared stays the same. Negative 2x minus 2x is negative 4. And negative 1 minus 4 is negative 5. And that is proven. So we move on to the next question. Now it's asking me to find the actual points. So I'm going to take that function, which is x squared minus 4x minus 5 is 0. So I need to solve this quadratic now, okay? So there's many ways to solve a quadratic. You could use the formula, you can factorize, you can complete the square. For this question, because I can factorize, I am going to. So two numbers that multiply to give you negative 5. When you add them, you get negative 4. So if you open your two brackets, you should have x plus 1 and x minus 5. So because both of them, one of them has to equal 0, because you're multiplying these two brackets together, that means x is negative 1 or x is a positive 5. So now what I'm going to do is, because I know the x values, so I know A is going to be this one and B is going to be this one, because if you look at the graph, that looks like negative 1, that looks like 5. I'm going to substitute them into the linear function just because it's a little bit easier. So the first one I'm going to have is y equals 2 times negative 1 plus 4. And the second one is 2 times 5 and then plus 4. So y in this question is going to be 2, or y in this question is going to be 14. And then don't forget just to write them back as a coordinate. Okay, so 5 and 14. Right, the next question, so it wants to work out the distance. So the distance formula you're given in the formula booklet. Oh, it's not a plus, minus. So x1 minus x2 squared plus y1 minus y2 squared. So I'm going to just change the colour for this. So the point you've just got, x1, y1, x2, y2, I'm going to put them into the formula. So we're going to have negative 1 minus 5 squared. And we're going to add to this 2 minus 14 squared. So negative 1 minus 5 is negative 6. So that's going to give me 36. And then negative 2 minus 12 and minus 14 is negative 12. Square that is 144. So that's going to be the square root of 180. If we're going to simplify the squared, you need two numbers. One of them has to be a square number. That gives you 180. So it's 36 and 5. And then we know the square root of 36 is 6. Right, the next question, we just need to look at these two functions and we have to say whether a, b, and c would be positive or negative. So if we start with first the a's. So if you look at the blue function, okay, because it's going upwards, we know that that is going to be a positive, and the red one is going to be a negative. The y-intercept on the blue one is going to be positive, so C is your y-intercept, and you can see on the red one it's going to be a negative. And then on the blue one, you can see here that they cross the x-axis twice, and because it's in the positive region, that means B here is going to be negative. Think about if you had two brackets, okay? You had like x minus 1, x minus 2. That would mean x is 1 and x is 2. But if you expanded the bracket, it would give you x squared and it'd give you minus 3x. It would be a negative and then a plus 2. Yeah, so B is negative, and then that one will be positive because it has that one solution in the negative section. Right, let's go to the next question. So this one we're just reading from this table for now, and it's just in function notation. It talks about the domain. So the first question is asked, okay, in this function, so there's x values, and that's the answers to the function. So it says, what happens if the function, when x is 4? So if you go to x is 4, you can see that it's 2. Then it's asking you, okay, can you actually take your answer, times it by 3, and then minus 1? So 3 times by 2, and then minus 1. So 6 minus 1 is going to give us 5. And then the next question said, well, can you tell us what x would be if this equals 11? So if you minus 3 from both sides, negative 2 times the function is 8. Then we're going to divide both sides by negative 2. And that tells me the function is going to be negative 4. So if you go back to your table, when the function is negative 4, x equals 0. Okay, right, and then the next question, last one, we're talking about a slide. So it gave us the function here can be modelled. It's told us that x is going to represent the horizontal distance from the slide. It's the function is just going to be the distance of it in meters, and then it gave us it as a graph. The first question wants us to show that a in this function is 0.1. How can we do that? Well, because we know the initial height is 2.5, we know that this function then has to equal 2.5, and then we can, oh, didn't mean that, and we know that x at this point is 0. So we can also put 0 into the function, and then that's enough information to solve what a is. So that's going to be negative 5 squared. Negative 5 squared is 25. So if you times that by a, and then divide both sides by 25, you will get 0.1 equals a. Right, then we're going to go to the next question. So this question has said that we have we are going to be positioned now a meter from the top of the slide, and it wants us to know what the height of the shunt is. Okay, so if we put that in, we know that A is 0.1, so we can use that. So to work that out, I want to know what happens when x is 1. So 0.1 times by 1 minus 5 squared. And then, so we work that out, it's 0.1 times by negative 4 squared. So 0.1 times by 16 is going to get me 1.6 meters. Okay, so we know that this is 1.6 meters. Then the last question has said, okay, what happens, what is the length of the actual slide? So the slide doesn't actually touch the bottom to the floor, it only goes to 0.4 meters. So what happens? So I am going to make the equation equal 0.4. So 0.1 x minus 5 squared. So I'm going to divide both sides by 0.1. So 4 equals x minus 5 squared. Square root both sides. 2 is x minus 5. And then add 5 to both sides. And that means that x is 7 meters.